would now like to welcome Dr. Arun Dhir up to do his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for sparing this evening with us. The idea is really to share with you what it takes, what sort of grit it takes, I should say, in order to really achieve and live life on your own terms. And I don't want this talk to sound all around weight loss surgery. No, I think a bigger and a more important question over here is how can we unlock our potential? And I have been a student of the whole mind-body connection. As you can see on my credentials here, I'm not only a surgeon, but I see myself as an instrument of service where I can actually help bring about a positive transformation in an individual's life. I'm a yoga teacher, certified yoga teacher by Yoga Australia. I don't practice, as in I don't teach as such in a studio. I used to once upon a time, but just time does not permit that anymore. But I bring the concepts in an integrative manner such that I can benefit individuals, such that they can unlock this human potential. And truly, I firmly believe that we are all God's highest form of creations. But when it comes to a point where there is a label that is given to our individual situations, such as diabetes, such as cancer, that is really a manifestation of years and years of negative self-belief, poor self-esteem, low confidence, and even feelings of anger and resentment that we have been harboring for years and years. And I've seen this time and time again in my over 2 decades of surgical practice. Individuals who come with a positive mindset about what to expect of their treatment, one shape or the other land up benefiting in the long run. I firmly believe, and I've come to this conclusion, at least for my own self, that it's the mindset that we need to work on. And I think more than that, we talk about things like heart set and our soul set. So I'll delve into that in a brief moment. But the important thing is that I think we need to look at the bigger picture and not just look at surgery that's be all and fix all for everything. Now, I think all of us are here for a reason, and we want to get something out of it. And the one thing that I've realized through the years of, whatever I've been on this planet for, and after talking to several people, is that at the end of the day, the most precious thing to any individual is to be happy and at peace with themselves. And I remind myself and everyone else over here about this quote from Dalai Lama, that the easiest way to become happy is to make others happy. And I think with that background, that sort of platform, I look at myself being an instrument of service. Sorry. So I think I have also, through my years of practice and through my work in tertiary hospitals, have come to firmly believe that true wealth is indeed an individual's health. Because I believe any material belongings that you have, if you take my jacket or my wallet from me, I can get another one. If you take my car from me, I can get another one. But if you take my health in a way that is almost permanent, that gives me a label of a diagnosis that I have to live with for the rest of my life. For example, diabetes. Unfortunately, modern medicine does not have a cure for diabetes. We can treat it or we can palliate it in different ways by giving insulin, different types of newer medications, but we can't cure it, unfortunately. So what I have come to believe, that you only need to ask an individual who's admitted on a hospital bed, even for one night, as to how they feel when they are lying down on that hospital bed in the prime of their life, when they have huge earning capability. Mind you, huge, because I firmly believe that the currency of the universe is ideas. One idea can change your life. one idea changed my life. You know, when I decided to be the odd surgeon out of the crowd who believed in talking not just about surgery, but actually talking about an integrative approach to the individual's health. So, cost of obesity that the world has to face, and I say obesity only in medical terms, not to be disrespectful. I think we need to acknowledge that obesity is actually a disease. It is a diagnosis that has been recognized by the National Institutes of Health, which is a peak American body, because there are problems associated with obesity. And it is an end outcome of years and years of inflammation, years and years of dysregulation, hormonal dysregulation. So let's acknowledge it in a manner that is, you know, the same way we would acknowledge any other disease, like a cancer, for example. The problem of obesity is it's the #2 killer in the world when it comes to the broader picture of the causes of death in the modern society. We have certainly overcome all the infectious problems like smallpox, malaria. We are not worried anymore by these bugs that can infect us, causing mortality. Surely there are bugs and they have their own set of problems, but they no longer range in the top 4 or 5 causes of death. That being said, what is now creating more of a problem in our society, the 4 big killers, are diabetes, strokes or heart attacks, which is cardiovascular diseases, cancers, and of course, obesity. And the future doesn't look too bright if the current trends continue. If you see this projection which was given by the Access Economics, in 2025, we are only looking at 28% of patients who are going to be maintaining their healthy weight. So almost only 1 in 4, which is actually quite a worrisome figure. This may be our evolution journey if that's what we have to relate to our future generations. So that being said, this graph actually also talks about the dollar cost of maintaining other problems associated with obesity. Sorry for those of you who can't see it very clearly, but essentially it talks about maintaining type 2 diabetes costs $12,238 per patient per year. This is the amount of money that goes into maintaining only one problem associated with being overweight. And the more important picture, the bigger picture, is the psychological aspects, the mental health aspects that are associated with it. It is well known that people who are in that category have got more vulnerability in terms of, depression, anxiety, lack of attention, lack of self-esteem. And these are acknowledged, in multiple studies. There have been studies that have been done which have actually reported that childhood trauma is something that is reflected in individuals who are overweight. Now, what it also said is that when we look at the mental health aspects of things, these individuals are less likely to exercise, 1.6 times more likely to be overweight, but 2.2 times more likely to smoke, be depressed, and 7 times more likely to be alcoholic, and 4.7 times likely to use drugs. Which are all, so history is telling us something that is a trend. Now, friends, what I want to share with you here is that we live in a society where stress is inevitable. Now, we all look at stress as a very bad thing. That's not always the case. Acute stress in the short term is designed for our protection. It is designed to keep us safe, because if you imagine when a deer is being chased by a pack of coyotes, the one thing that it looks for is where the concentration goes on itself. So it wants to quickly find out what it needs to do. Second thing is it figures out where it has to go, which is the space. So the self, the space, and the time, as in how much time it has to actually react. That is exactly the same thing that happens to us. The same reactions happen to us. However, the difference between the deer and human beings is that when the deer is no longer being chased by those pack of coyotes, it goes back to grazing, the stress response comes down. But in human beings, we are so unique that we can trigger the stress response just by thought alone. We can think of a negative thought, such as a bad spouse, or a bad boss, or a negative experience we've had on a consistent basis with a teenager kid, or whatever it may be. We can just think about it and bring about the stress response. And what that leads to is chronic stress, which is where the problem starts to come. Because that is what, over a series of events, as you can see in this figure, and I don't want to make it too technical, but all I want to say is that increased levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, sets up inflammation in the body, and it actually causes the body to conserve energy, because that's what the stress response was designed for, in order to conserve energy for a potential future calamity. And that's what leads to weight gain. I hear so many times when people come and see me that, "Doc, I've tried so many diets, I've tried this and I've tried that, and nothing works, it's all a waste of time." I feel like telling them, and I tell them in a gentle manner, that have you assessed what your stress levels are in the mix of all of this? And mind you, stress doesn't come labeled as stress. Stress can come as anger that you might express towards someone. It might come as resentment. You're just sulking in a negative sensation or a negative feeling for someone who might have said something unpleasant to you. And that whole sensation, when it keeps going on and on and on, it starts with a temperament, oh, what's wrong with this person? Why is this person so negative or so angry? And it is something that happened probably 5 or 6 days ago that this person is continuously brooding on. And that then translates to a temperament that translates into a mood. I'm in a bad mood today, because something happened a few weeks ago. Or my spouse said something to me which I just could not accept. And that flows on to a personality over a few months. So you can see how that transitions. Now, I'm not a psychologist, I don't claim to be one, but what I'm talking about is not rocket science. I think we all need to be keen students to actually learn that these are the fundamentals of how our mind and our thought process then translates into our physical world. See, Thomas Edison said, "Belief in things that we can touch and feel is no belief at all." The true belief is to believe in things that you cannot see. So you've got to have a vision. And I encourage every one of you in this room to figure out what is your purpose of being here. We all have a purpose. We were all placed on this planet for a reason. And I don't want to make this sound too philosophical and all that, but I think it all ties in with the title of this evening, which is Turn Your Life Around. And I really want this evening to actually inspire you to think that what is it that I'm doing today that I can do differently that can help me turn my life around. And again, it starts with your mindset toward things. I always say that, look, it may be very hard to practice, and as I said, I haven't achieved perfection, I may not even be here, but I feed myself and feed my mind with a lot of food which is infused with, which encourages positive mindset. There's a very interesting story that I read somewhere where a grandkid is sitting in his granddad's lap, and his granddad is telling him a story that, all of us have a good and a bad wolf in our minds. They're constantly fighting with each other. One is telling us, do this, go for that chocolate cake, you can have a bit more, you can have a bit more, And the other wolf, the good wolf, is saying, no, have a glass of water, have some salad and all that. So this grandkid says, Daddy, Granddad, which wolf is winning? Which wolf is going to win? And you know what the response was? It was quite profound. The wolf that you feed is the one that's going to win. So you just got to feed yourself with all this stuff that actually encourages you, motivates you, gets you to think about, how can you be a kinder person? How can you respond rather than react? Because reaction creates stress. We know this. Whereas when you respond, you actually have paused and taken time to think, and then you have responded. Because at the end of the day, as they say, anger is something that only comes back and bites at you. Stress eating and obesity is something that we know. It has been proven in many scientific studies that a candy bar is not necessarily going to make you feel better all the time. And stress influences our food choices. We tend to go for higher calorie food choices, which are necessarily unhealthy in the longer run, and we become addicted to it. And that is actually known, that food is addicting. Its addicting potential is equated to that of drugs that individuals take. So it is well documented, it is well known. And the other big thing that I talk about, which creates a lot of stress and anxiety, is mindless eating. And you know what I'm talking about. Eating in front of a laptop, or maybe driving your car, taking a phone call, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You are not connected to your food. You don't feel that sense of gratitude for food being on your plate. You haven't taken time to prepare the food. That's where there is no connection. And these are very, very pertinent things which are coming to light now, and it is very important to appreciate this. So, living life at your full potential, I think we all have capability to surprise ourselves. We just have to start with a decision. And I highly, highly encourage you all to do a bit of a soul searching, because at the end of the day, what you see success in any individual's life, and we've got a success story with us today, Julie, who's going to be sharing her journey with us. So far, we see the tip of the iceberg, all the discipline, the sort of, the evenings that one had to spend out of family dinner times and meal times, and spend in the gym doing work or whatever else, which required that individual to muster up the strength to actually commit themselves to achieving their life's goal. No one sees that. So point being here, that it's only the 10% success that when you see in an individual, you've got to appreciate that there is 90% of hard work that you're not seeing that has gone in it. So keeping with that, what I want to say is that the body achieves what the mind believes. And I would highly encourage you to start with this. When it comes to weight loss surgery, I would say weight loss surgery has got the potential to give you great results, but I'm not selling them on to you. You have the ability to determine how much success you want out of it. Because as with everything else, if you don't know how to use this tool properly, and we see this all the time when I see patients who are busy saying we calorie count, every meal that we take is counted, and I'm sure Helen would delve on this subject. The point being, calorie counting is the worst way to lose weight. I don't believe in it, and it's not just my opinion, it is coming to light, because your body goes into a starvation mode. I'll probably leave it there, and I'll let Helen clarify that. Exercise exhaustion. You need to know that exercise can only control about 20 to 30% of your energy expenditure. The rest 70% comes from body's innate metabolism. And if your metabolism is slowed down, that 30% is not enough. Plus, in the overweight individuals, extreme exercise makes them prone to develop a lot of body injuries and all that. So Genes is another story again, but clearly a decision to live a life, of fulfillment, a life which is full of health and vitality is a choice. And it is our choices that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. Very quickly, I will zip through this concept of why power is more powerful than willpower. And I urge everyone who is on this journey to question, why is it that they want to be healthier? Why is it, what is it that drives them rather just go on extreme willpower? I can lose weight, I can get fitter, I can healthier, because the why power will always lift you up. And that's what is very important. When we come to weight loss surgery, it is a tool. And that's what I always say. It doesn't come, unfortunately, with a manual that tells you how to use that tool, but that's where, in many ways, it's our role to guide our clients as to how to use that tool to your advantage. I won't go into the medical side of things because, again, it's for individuals who have got a BMI above 35, type 2 diabetes, and joint pain, and the related comorbidities that come with it. There are 3 key procedures that we are performing these days in our medical practice. The lap band, can I say, I'm only mentioning just to say that we are not doing a lot of it because it's something that has gone a lot out of favor because of the maintenance issues associated with it. The revisional gastric bypass, the gastric sleeve are the 2 key operations that we do. The Roux-en-Y, gastric bypass. And besides this, there is a new player on the market, which is a single joint bypass. The results are very encouraging for this bypass called the mini gastric bypass, or the single anastomosis bypass, or the omega loop. All similar names for the same procedure, but something that has proven over the last 7 years or so to be very effective in individuals who have got type 2 diabetes because of the specific malabsorptive elements associated with this particular procedure. Again, these are technical matters which we are more than happy to discuss in further detail if anyone is interested in a consultation. But again, the idea of any surgical procedure is to help the individual rewire their brain patterns. Once that is done, which is generally by way of not only reducing the stomach volume, but also reducing the hunger hormones, and that's how weight loss surgery works. It reduces the set point for hunger. The individual is not as hungry anymore. However, that doesn't last forever. And that's where, in order to strengthen those new neuronal patterns, it is required that an individual develops ongoing follow-up, a positive mindset for lasting success. I probably would leave it at this for the moment. The mechanism of action of weight loss surgery, as I just mentioned to you, is definitely hormonal. It's not just mechanically reducing the size of the stomach. There are several hormones, and I won't go into the details of this, but it's almost like giving you the keys to a Ferrari. Now, if you know how to drive the car, fantastic, good on you, follow the traffic rules, reach your destination, everyone will be excited for you. But if you don't know how to drive the car, then unfortunately, it is going to be a loss. So we don't want that. So I'll probably say that we pride ourselves as a practice that holds an integrative approach to weight loss surgery, and I love to gently nurture my clients by actually providing them with resources on things like stress management, gut detox, diet, and supplements. And in that note, we run webinars from time to time. Again, those of you already members of the Facebook page would get more information about it. Exercise and breath control, and we've got some amazing exercise physiologists and physiotherapists who are in our team today, who I'll introduce you towards the end of the talk. And also balancing the gut microbiome, because there's a lot of research that's coming out on the relevance and the importance of gut microbiota in the overall health of the individual, and we have started including a probiotic, a medically, scientifically proven probiotic in our weight loss surgery package, because even though a probiotic is not a quick fix, your diet is the best probiotic, we acknowledge that, but it's a good start. You're starting somewhere, so at least you are encouraged to think about the relevance of maintaining a good gut flora. I think I'd probably say and summarize it that the 4 big killers in our society, as I just mentioned, heart problems, brain problems, cancers, and of course obesity, are there. These are bigger epidemics that we are having to deal with in the medical community, and if we have to protect ourselves and safeguard ourselves from any of this, we need to take action. Today, we need to take action now. Thank you so much for your attention, and I really do appreciate once again for your time. I want to acknowledge the amazing team that I have behind me, who has actually put this evening together, including the amazing supporting staff that I work with on a daily basis. Hopefully, we achieve our mission of making a difference in the lives of people in the longer run. Thank you everyone.